We have finally reached game week. Is Auburn ready to handle business, though?
Midweek report coming at you guys, brought to you by our friends at the Opelika and the Birmingham Rage Room. You can find them at 1510 2nd Ave if you're in Opelika, Alabama, or 2616 7th Ave South if you're in Birmingham. They've got a website as well too. You can Google the OpelikaRageRoom.com or the BirminghamRageRoom.com and book your session today online, or just give them a call. We want to thank them for sponsoring the midweek report here. Great sponsors of the War Report. Go get some stress out at the Rage Room. It's a really fun time. If you're looking for some team building, it's a really interesting team building as well too. Like if you've never broken a windshield with a baseball bat, sounds like some weird X drama stuff activity going on there, but you can practice at the Rage Room. So visit them and get your swing on today, guys. You know the deal. Join as a member. The season is almost here. Friday night, we got Friday night football for Auburn, and you want to be a part of the conversation by becoming a patron. Now, our pregame and our halftime will be restricted to member only, especially the chat. The post game, we make kind of a game time decision on that, but everybody will be able to view. Sometimes we restrict the chat to member only. So become a patron. Make sure you have your membership teed up for this experience. It's going to be a lot of fun Friday night. Lots of community. We'll be live post game. I know Locked On goes live post game as well too. So join us, join them, join us all, right? But become a patron. Look, you can give the gift of the War Report, help somebody else become a patron by hitting that gifted membership button. We appreciate our members for helping us grow our Green Name Gang. If you interact with our channel at a high level, but you haven't made the decision to become a patron, check your email. You might have a membership in there waiting on you. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. You can visit them for all your herbal medicinal needs. If you're looking for non-traditional means of, whatever it is, relaxation, if you are kind of opposed to maybe a traditional medicine, they have some things there that are all natural and that can help you in your day-to-day life. Longtime sponsors of the show. We appreciate our guy Richard. Let them know the War Report sent you. They might even drop a little something extra in there for you. We're going to get the show started, but before we do, I want to just make sure you guys are aware we're on podcast, all the podcast platforms. The War Report is there, burning up the podcast charts. Downloads have been insane. You guys are doing a great job responding to the call to subscribe and turn on automatic downloads so that we can help grow in the audio community. So whether you're on your way to work, dropping the kids off to school, or maybe you're just headed to the gym, the War Report is there with all your favorite audio-only content. So we're in your ear 24/7. Guys, that's it. Start the show.
Yes, indeed. We are ready to get this thing cranking. Wednesday nights, 2 days before game day. Feels a little weird to say, but it is what it is. But we are ready to talk a little more. The definitive. I don't know what anybody else is doing on any other channel. This is the definitive preview for Auburn versus Baylor right here.
Yes.
We are going to go jump. Normally, if you guys are not new to the channel, if you're been here for a while, normally we preview all the other games for the week. We skipping all that rigmarole today. We're getting straight to the business, talking Auburn versus Baylor out the gate. So if folks are showing up late thinking we're not, sorry for you. We're talking Auburn versus Baylor, and the matchup is in prime time on Friday. Both teams, of course, have not played any games so far, so there's no record to speak of. But the game is going to be taking place there in Baylor. I have 6:30 ESPN. That's just because I didn't change that on the graphic for whatever reason because I was hurrying. But it is 7 p.m. on Fox that this game is actually taking place. Auburn is favored by 2.5 points. The over-under is 47.5. That's come down a little bit. It was in the 50s earlier this week. So they're starting to anticipate maybe a little less scoring in this game. Baylor is favored in the ESPN Power Index, Football Power Index, 51.8%. Baylor leads the series 2-1-1. So we had a tie, and all the games were back in the day. The most recent one was September 18th, 1976, and Baylor won that game 15-14. By God, I hope that is not what the score is going to be, anything like that in this game. But we are ready for all the smoke. And as promised to y'all, I'm ready to come in here and talk crazy today. Because I've been trying to be humble all, you know what I'm saying, all season. You know, I'm ready to talk crazy today. Let's get in here and talk about this game, Mike G. Let's do it.
I have given my prediction many times over. I've called this game 38-21. I think that the defense, plays well in this one. I could see some garbage time stuff for Baylor maybe at the end. But it's going to look competitive for a couple quarters for sure. As a matter of fact, it'll look competitive throughout. I just think Auburn is the more talented team in this one. Now, if you have doubts about what kind of game Hugh Freeze is going to call, I get it. I'm going to save my full rant for later in the show. But look, this is a game Auburn should win. And damn it, it's time for Auburn to win games they should win. Yeah. It's year 3, man, of this thing. It's year 3. Hugh Freeze has gotten all the support he's asked for. He's gotten all the players, the money, whatever he's asked for, he's gotten to be able to do this thing. And for what it's worth, there seems to be a great amount of alignment between him and John Cohen about how to do this thing, right? They pivoted in recruiting. They just landed the number 13 overall recruit in the country. That's huge. Now you're sitting on the top 25 class. All that's missing from this is wins. That's it. A solid QB play and wins. That's what it comes down to. So, like I said, I'll have more to say later in the show, but I mean, you have not given your prediction yet. So I want to give the floor to you to, talk about what this is going to be, man, on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as far as I'm concerned, I did give a prediction over on Sikkim 365 when we talked about this game, and I picked Auburn to win this game 31-24.
Ooh, that's down.
Thought it was going to be about a touchdown margin there. I think it's going to be a 2-touchdown margin, and then Baylor maybe gets a late score to make it more interesting. If I'm picking all the things, that was before I knew whether or not, we were going to have Alex McPherson. So there is a field goal in there somewhere. And I'm still having faith that Auburn can pull that off. But I just think, honestly, man, I talked about this a little bit with our guy on Sikkim 365. We did a preview on our channel that is dropping tomorrow for our non-members. Members already have access to that. And we went position group by position group, matchup by matchup, right? And if you look at the Baylor defensive line versus the Auburn offensive line, he gave the edge there. I think he slid slightly. He was going to give the edge to the Auburn offensive line there. I agree with him. I think the Auburn offensive line is the more physical group of the two, which is going to pay dividends for Auburn being able to run the football, control the clock, give Jackson Arnold some ability to get into some third and medium situations if necessary. So I do believe Auburn can control the line of scrimmage on offense. And honestly, I can stop right there. If Auburn's able to dictate the pace of this game, how they want to, whether it's speed it up with tempo or slow it down and hand the ball off to that stable of running backs that they have, Auburn's going to win this football game. Because they're too talented at receiver that if they can do what they want in the run game, how do you stop this offense? Save Auburn screwing it up themselves. How do you stop the offense if the offensive line is going to control the line of scrimmage for Auburn? I've got too much confidence in the defense to be able to go out there and handle business and get stops. So if the offense can control the pace and the defense can get stops, Baylor doesn't have a chance to win the game. They just don't. So if I'm to believe that, then I believe Auburn wins.
Yeah.
Like I just, again, I don't know another way to say that. The wide receivers are too good. So if you're going to have to dedicate more things to stop the run, good luck. Good luck playing solo on the outside versus Cam Coleman, Horatio Fields, Perry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons, Eric Singleton, Bryce Kane. The list goes on. Good luck. It's not happening. That's the long and the short of this game. Like, if Auburn doesn't turn the football over and their offensive line controls it, it's an Auburn win.
Yeah, the Baylor media, they seem to not believe either in the talent that Auburn has on the outside or that Jackson Arnold has what it takes to get them the ball anywhere in the area code of a catch.
Right.
That's crazy to me. This guy went out and beat Bama last year with no wide receivers and no line.
Right.
Reasonable minds should say y'all should be a little bit more worried. I get feeling like you have the horses to win. I don't understand them acting like Auburn doesn't have anything to play with here. Not only do they have the chips to play with, they got better chips than you. The wide receivers are just better. Eric Singleton, Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, these guys are just better. If they don't win, it won't be because they got locked down by Baylor DBs. If they don't win, it will be because there's no time for Jackson Arnold to throw the ball, period. Hugh Freeze said Monday, he said, we have the talent to win those matchups. We have the talent to win those 50-50 balls. And when I tell you, when Cam Coleman is on the job, it's not 50-50. It's 80-20. You go out and you get Eric Singleton because he's got 80-20 speed, man. You're not even going to be near him when he catches it. Low 4.2s, Ike, acting like these guys won't burn you if you leave them open. One bust. That's it. That's all it's going to take to the house.
Yeah.
We saw Malcolm Simmons do it as a true freshman. There was a Baylor fans in our comments 2 hours ago saying, why are we worried about a 600-yard receiver? Talking about Cam Coleman. What? That 600-yard receiver was a true freshman last year. They had 8 touchdowns.
That's a crazy statement of someone who clearly has not watched a single down of football in that Cam Coleman played. If you think that the production for Cam Coleman at 600 yards is any indication of how much he will bust your ass, you crazy.
Crazy. That had nothing to do with Cam Coleman. That was Auburn and Freeze just not throwing on the ball. Look what happened over those last 4 games. Ask Bama about Cam Coleman. He outplayed Ryan Williams in that Iron Bowl. This is an insane amount of disrespect and dismissive attitude toward the talent.
Yeah.
If you're
I think that's what's crazy is like as much as I believe in Auburn's talent, I'm still giving credit to the fact that I think that Baylor's going to be able to score in this game. I just think when it comes down to it, Auburn's going to score more. Like I haven't leaned into some crazy level of disrespect to Baylor. Like, why should Auburn be concerned with Kobe Prentice? He didn't do anything at Alabama. Like, I haven't said nothing crazy like that about none of their players.
Yeah.
You can be confident in your team without having wild takes about the other team. It's not necessary.
That's a fact. Look, man, at the end of the day, you built this team to have more dogs than most of the people that you play. That's been Bama for a long time. That's been Georgia for a long time, right? Think about, do you remember in Georgia's first title run in their back-to-back? They played, I think it was like a 28-16 game with a bunch of field goals with like Missouri or somebody. Chat, check me on this one. It was a low scoring bullshit game that was like, wow. And what happens when those games get that muddied up, Ike, is you still have no chance because they just got more dogs than you. And we're talking about Georgia, so pun intended. But they got more dogs than you. That was Saban's thing. B. Will said this all the time. Saban does not have to be the best in-game coach because he's got more dogs than you. He's got players that when plays break down, they will just go out and make plays for their team, period. Need a pick, they're going to – it doesn't matter how well the ball is thrown. They're going to pick it. You remember when Oregon played Georgia to open their season a couple years ago?
Yeah.
You know, one of the first picks both threw, man, it was just a crazy interception laid out.
Yeah.
They got guys who can do that. So, I mean, if you're Auburn, you built your team for that. When we talked about DeMarcus Riddick at SEC Media Days, I was talking with Jake Crane, and something he said about Riddick stuck with me. He said, when you look at DeMarcus Riddick, he looks like what Georgia has had. He looks like what Bama has had. And when you get guys that look like that, you really have to kind of undercoach it to lose.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about DJ Durkin undercoaching anything. Like, he's going to let those guys loose. And one thing I listened to and I wish I could give credit to them because I can't remember. I think it was a PFF preview of this game, and they talked about how the big issue with Sawyer Robertson last year was him operating under pressure. And if you can get pressure on him, which is no different than most quarterbacks, but if you can get pressure on him, he becomes far less accurate, right? Like, that's just a normal thing for most quarterbacks that aren't like extremely elite. I think that DJ Durkin is gonna he's got guys that can go fly around. I think he's just gonna let guys fly around in this game, man. And he's gonna trust his DBs early to figure it out, but he's going to go and he's going to make Sawyer Robertson uncomfortable often. And they're going to focus their attention on not letting them run the football and not giving Sawyer Robertson time to figure out what's going on. Because what Baylor's going to want to do is spread them out and hit quick stuff, right? Quick game. He's going to have those guys in his face quickly trying to make him get rid of the ball, and they're going to try to rally and tackle to keep it to a minimal game.
You said something that's very true there, right? Like, under pressure, most quarterbacks, their accuracy drops off significantly.
Yeah.
When we're talking about completion percentage, the best quarterbacks that we've seen in the last 10 years, right? And I know this is extreme comparison. We talk about somebody like Joe Burrow, but in his Heisman campaign, right? He had a 80% completion percentage when he was kept clean. Under pressure, he was 66.4%. 66% under pressure. Ike, 66% would be a good season period for a lot of quarterbacks. Under pressure, 66%. Most quarterbacks, even some of the better ones, again, this century, under pressure, they're sub 40.
Right.
Sub 40. I mean, you you look at a guy like Jaden Daniels last year who won the Heisman as well, too. He was supreme moving in and around the pocket. Just good. And when he extended plays, you were done. There was nothing for you to do.
Right.
And he was even around like 40%. Go ahead.
I think that's the underrated portion of Jackson Arnold's game that people are forgetting because they didn't see him enough last year, is how mobile he is and actually how well he throws on the move. I've mentioned this before. Jackson Arnold is actually really good when he's off his spot and improvising. And Baylor's going to bring that simulated pressure. And if he's able to extend plays and get outside of the pocket, it's going to make it almost impossible to guard those wide receivers. If Baylor can't figure out how to make Jackson Arnold uncomfortable enough to hold on to the ball too long in the pocket, meaning like they're going to have to rush upfield but not be too deep so he can escape. If he's able to escape the pocket, man, he's going to make it miserable for those DBs to have to cover, because it's just you're going against talented guys that can win anyway. And if the quarterback's moving around and he's got accuracy on the move, it's going to make your life hard. It's going to be really difficult for Baylor's defensive backs to cover long enough to hold Auburn's wide receivers down.
Yeah. Under pressure, Jaden Daniels last year, 50%. I mean, in his Heisman campaign, 50% under pressure. Those are extraordinary numbers. The average, again, some of the better quarterbacks we've seen, even Mac Jones, he was awful under pressure. He was, if you gave him time, he was more accurate than almost anybody we've seen this century.
Yeah.
But if you got some pressure on him, he could make mistakes. We saw that in the Iron Bowl that he played in back in 2019. So, where I'm at with this is if you get to Sawyer Robertson, he's going to make mistakes. He's going to throw interceptions, right? And I don't think that Sawyer Robertson has the safety valve that Jackson Arnold will have for guys who will just go get the football if he's got throwing up. I'm not saying his guys can't make plays. I'm not saying their receivers aren't good. I'm saying if I'm picking, one team to win that sort of matchup, I'm picking Auburn. I'm picking Auburn. But I have to pick Auburn because that's what this team was built to do. When we talked about recruiting, there was a bunch of Bama people online blustering about like when they landed Braylon, right? They said Braylon Womack. They said, "Oh, congratulations on catching up to Mississippi State in recruiting." Acting like landing the number 13 player overall in the country isn't a huge deal. What? Are you kidding me? Go look at that guy's highlights. That is a wild thing. And if you have enough of those guys, you're going to have a chance to win almost every football game. This is why Freeze kept pointing to year 3 as so pivotal, because he knew by year 3 he could amass enough of those guys to compete. It looked rough the first couple of years. But not only did you amass those guys, your Cam Coleman and your Perry Thompsons and these guys, they're veterans now. That should be a scary prospect. And if you're Baylor, you're putting way too much stock in what Auburn did the first 2 years, ignoring the amount of talent that they were building. And also ignoring the fact that it's all built for this moment.
Yeah.
They kind of accepted that they weren't going to be able to, and I hated that approach because I felt like
I hated it too, but it's the reality. They basically, the first 2 seasons, he was just like, all right, we're going to just, what happens, but this is what he's been building towards, to say, listen, we've got the guy. Like, some people tried to make fun of him for his post-game speech postseason speech with, Eugene Asante saying, if they had to shoulder the burden of having those bad years to be ready for the good that's coming, and Coach Hugh Freeze crying about, I hate that you guys aren't going to be able to witness what we become. But he understood, man, we've got something here.
Yeah.
And we got an opportunity to go out here and do some things in this 3rd season. And again, the rhetoric around what he's saying about his team, completely different than what it's been the 2 seasons prior. It just is like, and I don't know what to point towards that other than he really does think he's got a really good team this year. Now they got to go out there on the field and prove it. But man, name a place where there's not a talented guy with another talented guy ready to come on the field after that guy goes off the field. There's not a position where you can't say that's a dude and that's a dude and that's a dude and that's a dude.
Yeah. This is going to sound like a high amount of homerism, and it's because it is, but it's earned. It was earned through recruiting. If you can't get excited about the potential of what this team could be after what they did in recruiting the first couple of years, then you just can't get excited. There's a couple fans that are consistently in our comments, and I'm like, yo, are you guys Auburn fans? I don't understand it. I don't understand all the negativity. Like, you may be down on Freeze, but the players 100% do not deserve that negativity. They're just here to play. One of our commenters is so negative. I'm just like, dude, if a player were reading this, I'd transfer.
Yeah.
He wants,
I guess,
wants Freeze to fail more than he wants,
I think that's the thing that's disappointing for me is people wanting disliking the coach. So you want the team to fail because you don't like the coach. And it's like, the players don't deserve that, man. They literally did nothing to deserve your consistent negative. Whether you like Coach Hugh Freeze or not, why would you want him to fail? Even if you expect him to fail, you don't wish it.
Yeah.
And I hate the people who say the negative, but I hope I'm wrong. Negative, but I hope I'm wrong. No. It's like,
now,
don't
look,
do that, bro. Like, look, man, don't project your negativity all
now,
over the place.
Now, here's the thing, right? I'm all about reality, and I've been accused of being negative before. But
well, there's definitely a difference between being honest and being negative. There's a very stark difference.
Yeah, look, I'm always pulling for the players, right? We've always been very pro player here at the War Report, so I'm always pulling for the players. I don't care. The coaches are going to be okay. Let me put it. A lot of these players are going to be okay now. So my feeling about that has changed as well too. The coaches are going to be okay. They do a bad job, they get fired, they get paid. They get buyouts. They're millionaires. The kids laying it on the line every single day in practice. It's hard to look at all that work that they put in. It's hard to look at all the passion, the sweat, the blood they put into their program and then say, you know what? They're going to crap the bed against Baylor. These top 5, top 20, top 30, top 50 kids that Auburn has recruited, they're going to run it into the ground. And I'll tell you what, defensively, you have no basis for saying that. Even under Ron Roberts, Auburn was pretty good defensively.
Yeah.
DJ Durkin, what game last year did you watch where you were just throwing your hat defensively? What Auburn game did you watch last year where you were like, I'm done with this defense?
No, there was some situational things like the end of the Missouri game, that second half of the Texas A&M game where you were just like, yo, what is happening right now? But outside of that, no, the defense, they came and brought their A game for the vast majority of most games. It's frustrating because the defense had literally no margin for error.
Right. They coughed Bama up 4 times in the Iron Bowl on the road. A marginal amount of offense could have won Auburn that game. So if you are apprehensive based on the results the first 2 years, I get it. Because I do feel like they undercoached the talent some the first couple of years. Auburn had enough talent to make a bowl game last year. Fact.
Yes.
They were better than 5-7 from a talent perspective. I'm not saying they were 10-2 good or 9-3 good, but they were 6-6 good or 7-5 good, certainly. Is this the year that they finally make the jump? If they end up going 9-3, it's going to look like a monumental jump from year 2 to year 3. But the truth was, it's not that big a jump because they had enough talent to win 7 games last year. So going from 7-5 to 9-3, that's a 2-game improvement. It looks very large when you talk about 5-7 to 9-3. And people will be one of the greatest turnarounds in college football this year. No. This team
Yeah, I mean,
was
it definitely will be a team that surprised a lot of people if they make that kind of leap. But to your point, this is where Auburn should be. This is the conversation Auburn should be in every year.
yes.
Every year you should be in is Auburn going to get to 11 wins this year, or is it going to sink back down to 8? Like that's the offseason conversation that should be happening around this program.
Absolutely.
Is 8 wins is now a disappointment again?
Yeah. We certainly don't want to think that it's good enough. But if you're Freeze, you are building for the long term. I think that John Cohen bought into the long-term vision for building Auburn football through high school recruiting. And I will give Coach Hugh Freeze credit for this. He's been very consistent about this from the beginning. He said, I think the portal is a way to patch it up, and you can find some good things in the portal, and you can turn your program around fast with the portal. But the way to build it is from high school. And we all know that takes time. You don't know how good a high school class is going to be until year 3 a lot of times. But if you're getting kids like Cam Coleman, yeah, in year 2, they're probably going to be really good.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be every kid you get. So for the most part, it's year 3 where you see where those guys are really at.
Yeah, which is why you stack them, and then you give time for guys to develop by going to the portal and supplementing it, right? Like they didn't know whether or not Cam Coleman was going to be ready, so they went in, got Keandre Lambert-Smith. It's like, all right, we want a clear, ready day 1 number 1 receiver. They went out and got one.
Yeah,
they knew Cam Coleman was going to be good, but is Malcolm Simmons ready to make the leap? Is Perry Thompson ready to make the leap? Not sure. Let's go get Eric Singleton to make sure he's got somebody to be alongside him this season, so that our quarterback's got multiple options out there, along with our stud guy that we brought in as a true freshman. Turns out those other guys are going to be pretty good too. So because you're stacked and you hear Eric Singleton might not be 100%, you don't panic, because you're like, oh, well, shoot, they still got freaking Malcolm Simmons over there, and Perry Thompson, and Horatio Fields, and Bryce Kane, and Sam Turner, and the list goes on of guys who you feel confident that can step in there and make plays. When you have Damari Alston, who's going to be your heir apparent, and you've got, another solid running back that hasn't had an opportunity to do a bunch of stuff in Jeremiah Cobb, and you're like, all right, well, we're going to have freshmen outside it. Well, let's just go get somebody out of the portal, and you go get a solid addition to that in Darrell Robinson. You know that you've got Deuce Knight, but is he ready to go right out the gate? Well, let's go get a guy who started a couple of games in the SEC, who was a 5-star out of high school, and see if he can be the guy that's our bridge over to Deuce. And you just continue to do that over and over again at every position until you say, golly, man, this is a freaking talented team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
this team is super talented.
Unfortunately for Auburn, a lot of this is going to come down to, do they have their guy at quarterback? And, when you don't have your guy at quarterback, it changes fundamentally who you are offensively. Changing the quarterback changes your offensive identity, because, those guys have different skill sets. He did say this about Deuce on Monday. I think Deuce went 7 for 7 in their mock game. Said he looked unflappable. And he made every throw, and Auburn feels really good about Deuce Knight. He long thought to be a project coming out of high school. Deuce said, no. I'm going to get ready to play now. He is super talented. So in case of emergency, Auburn thinks they have a guy who can step in and play well.
Right.
I hope they don't need him this season. I really hope they don't.
Listen, I am not of the mindset that I want to throw Deuce Knight in there during his freshman season. Like I am, if we have not been abundantly clear about this, rooting for the success of Jackson Arnold to not just be passable as a quarterback, but to go out there and have a stranglehold on this job.
Yes, 100%.
And shut every one of those annoying Oklahoma people up that keep
Yeah,
talking about how he
I
doesn't
want that
have a prayer
possession.
to be good.
I want that for Jackson really bad. I want
Yeah.
him to shut his haters down so bad. So look, Brett Venables said it. He didn't blame Jackson Arnold for anything that happened at Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, he handled himself with class, according to his head coach. And I don't think that you go out of your way to say that at media days if it's not true.
Yeah.
So, they talk about Jackson Arnold seeing ghosts. I'm sorry, like most kids would see ghosts under the situations that he played in.
Put a guy in a haunted house, and then you're commenting on the fact that he saw ghosts.
Ghosts,
He
yeah.
was where the ghosts live. You put him in a crib. Yeah, he saw some ghosts.
Yeah,
There was no offensive line out there, man. Come on,
man. It was calling. Oklahoma fans seem to not want to acknowledge the level of mess they were offensively last year. And then they blame Jackson for not performing admirably under those circumstances. You weren't Superman when we needed 3 Supermans. So, you can't, you're iffy in the pocket, or you're like, I can't co-sign that.
Yeah.
I can't, right? And this is a 5-star guy. And, I think they stack. You've heard me say this before. Auburn has stacked the deck around their quarterback.
Yeah.
In hopes of raising the floor for failure and making sure that whatever product he puts out is good enough to win most football games. That's what the better schools did. Stetson Bennett had the deck stacked around him in their first championship run. So he could go out there and be extra regular that first year, and they still won a championship. The deck was quadruple stacked at Georgia that year, especially defensively. I'm not sure the deck is quadruple stacked at Auburn, but it's at least single stacked around him. He has got a stacked roster around him. They stacked the offensive line. He's got stacked running backs. He definitely has stacked wide receivers. Don't with some stacked play calling, Ike. And this team has a chance to be special. A loss to Baylor won't be the end of the world, but it will put a lot of pressure, I think, on those first 3 opening SEC games. So we'll see where they land.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some pressure if they lose this game. But for me, it's going to be how well does this offense perform? Do they look competent? Even if it starts out shaky, are you able to rebound and show some competency, put up above 2 touchdowns in this game? Like, can we get 3 touchdowns or more in this game from this offense? And I would leave Waco feeling happy about that, as long as you didn't give up like 60, which I don't think the defense is going to do.
Right.
All right. We need to get over into these comments, though, because you guys have been tearing it up over here in the comment section, and we appreciate that. We're going to go to our break really quickly. If you haven't liked the video, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't shared the video, please go ahead and hit that share button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, then I just don't even know what is going on with your life. Make sure you're doing that right there. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
The Rage Room. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Set up a session today at one of the 2 great locations in Opelika or Birmingham by visiting opelikaRageRoom.com or BirminghamRageRoom.com.
You guys know the deal. Sign up as a patron. Seeing lots of signups here in the comments. The book is high today. So far, I count 15 memberships given away so far. We have a sign up. You guys are doing great. We have 2 signups. You got 3 signups. You guys are doing fantastic here in the comments. Lots of super chats that we'll get to. You want to be a member of our patron community come game time. Trust me, you want to be a part of the conversation. Don't miss out. Also, as I mentioned, you can give the gift of the War Report. 15 given away. Let's see if we can get another 15 given away. Help us grow that patron community for the season. If you get one of these memberships, it's your option to renew it once it runs out. It's good for a month. But check your email. If you are not a Green Name Gang member, you can be for the length of this gifted membership, and then after, make sure you're renewed throughout the season so you can stick with us. November is going to be great because we're going to have football and we're going to have basketball. Lots of great basketball coverage. Get in on that now. I want to thank our sponsors, our friends at Sets for Society. Visit setsforsociety.ai today to get on the journey to knowing yourself better. Sets for Society, they have custom personality assessments that tell you more about how you think, how those around you think, and how you guys can think better together. Want to be a better teammate, a better partner, a better coworker? Sets for Society can start you on that journey today. Visit setsforsociety.ai now to get your custom personality assessment started. It costs nothing, guys, to start this. This is absolutely free to start the assessment. You take the questionnaire on the website, and somebody will reach out to you to perform your assessment and help. Ike and I took this together, and it was remarkable that it nailed our personality traits and some of our quirks, and it was fantastic seeing this on paper. So we want this for you guys to support those who support us. Just go over to Sets for Society and do your personality assessment today. Also, as always, we want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. Visit them for all your herbal medicinal needs. If you're looking for non-traditional methods to relaxation or maybe pain relief, Rogue Shop could have something that helps you out there. You know, we use their products here as well too. So please go support them. Use code REPORT. Our guy Richard may even drop a little something special in for everybody coming over using code REPORT. Last but certainly not least, I want to shout out our sponsor, Abel's Iron More and Associates. That's Amen Associates. Abel's Iron and More. They've been in business for almost 25 years. They manage over $200 million for clients in over 25 states and 2 foreign countries. They're not some big corporate operation, guys. This is an Auburn family providing honest guidance and top-notch service. You get the feel for a small town with years of insight, perspective, and results. Jeff, David, and Colin are great to work with. Contact Abel's Iron More and Associates at 912-777-4128. Again, that's 912-777-4128. Or visit AIMAINC.com. That's AIMAINC.com to see why they're different. You don't need millions of dollars to need a financial fiduciary. And a financial fiduciary is someone who is bound by law to act in their client's best interests. This is very, very important. All you need is a paycheck and some goals, and AIM and Associates can help you understand how to best achieve your ideal financial future. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iron More and Associates for this endorsement. Abel's Iron More and Associates is a registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The information in this advertisement is for informational purposes only and should not be considered personalized investment advice. All investing involves risk, including the potential for loss of principal, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Guys, check us out on podcasts, all the podcast platforms. We are there with the Auburn Express Uptempo College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Report Gaming channel. Whether you're on your way to work, headed to the gym, or maybe just dropping the kids off at school, all your favorite Auburn content right there in audio only format, easy to consume. So subscribe on podcasts, turn us on, turn us up. We are here for you, bringing you lots of great content every single day.
Yes, indeed. We are back to it. Getting to your comments, a lot of comments. So listen, if you're new to us during the season, it's usually a lot of comments flying in because everybody wants to talk. So I am going to likely only grab supers during this time. I apologize. I see your comments. I'm trying to reply to them live and type, but I'm likely only going to get to the super chats for this time. So thank you so much for all of you who are commenting. But super chats are going to rule the day for a second here. We'll start it off with Cleveland Brown, who says, week 1 is finally here. It's nut up or shut up for Hugh Freeze this year. War, damn Eagle.
Simply said, but beautifully said. Put up or shut up.
Exclusive TV, safe travels, Ike, War, damn Eagle. The Boog Guru, you're darn right about that. Got a long drive ahead of me tomorrow, but I am hitting the road and heading to Waco. So Hopefully traffic don't do nothing crazy, but I'm leaving tomorrow just to give myself a bunch of extra time to make sure I am there before a Friday night kickoff there in McLean Stadium in Waco, Texas. So I appreciate the well wishes on the road. Tiger Boy 0261 says we need a video of Mike's best rants. War, damn eagle.
Yeah, we got to do a better job of cataloging those as we go, because boy,
Yeah.
we got hundreds of hours of video to go through on that one.
Right. 9-time champion says we need Angel Reese pictures on the offensive audible board so we can get RG3 to spaz. So we can get RG3 to spaz out. War Dem Eagle and safe travels, Ike and all. For those that don't know, RG3 is on the call for this game somehow for Fox.
Really?
Yes. And I was annoyed the minute that, and listen, this is not because I don't like RG3 as a color commentator. It's because he went to Baylor, and I don't want to hear a Baylor guy on the call for the Auburn versus Baylor game. Like, I just don't. And so, yeah, that's a thing. But for those that don't know, he had some comments about Angel Reese, which is why that was funny to me.
Oh, wait, hold on, wait. They have a podcast, Out of Pocket RG3, and they're doing something special for this Auburn Baylor game over on his podcast. I know somebody who got invited to speak on that podcast from the Auburn community. So I'll be interested to see what they're putting out there. But you're saying he's on the call for the game, so I wonder who's running it. But they got something special going on their podcast for this one.
All right. Another one from 9-time champion who says Dave Aranda pressers can be sold as sleep ASMR, laughing out loud. So I asked my guy Grayson about this. I don't know if any of you guys have gone to watch the press conference where Dave Aranda was previewing this game, and I was like, is he always like this? Like, I don't know that I've ever heard Dave Aranda talk.
Yeah.
My goodness. I was just like, yo, this is he's giving nothing. Like, they're like tone, personality, facial expression, everything was as monotone as it could be. I was like, yo, this is crazy, bro. Like, I don't know how he's such a good, like, he's definitely a football savant, because it's not that he's motivating people to go out there and do something. He just know how to put people in the right position.
Yeah.
Because he ain't hyping nobody up with that voice, bro. Like, I was like, this is crazy, dog. I was concerned. It's like, yo, is this normal for him? Felix with the super chat says, War Mullen Eagle, so boog with me. Baylor fans F around and find out, because they really don't think y'all want this smoke. Felix is fired up today. I ain't mad at it, brother. I am not mad at all. I'm fired up too. Exclusive TV with the super chat says, correction, Mike, it is 90-10, talking about the chances that Cam Coleman's coming down with the football if it's thrown in his area. I ain't mad at that, sir. Let's see. JJ Brand with the member chat who says B Will's appearance on Friday. Man, I'm trying to get B Will to show up for y'all during football season for sure. So y'all just definitely have to tune in. If he does come on the show, it's probably going to be pregame and halftime for any games. He likely will not be able to do any post-game stuff, just the way that his schedule works out. Unless it's an earlier game, then he may be able to do a post-game, depending on how his schedule is. But I am trying to just convince him to give y'all 30 minutes to come through on game day, at least for the pregame. So hopefully he'll be able to oblige you all with that for at least the first game. We will see. I'm not making no promises, because I'm not the person who has to fulfill that promise. I'm not promising on behalf of B Will nothing. A Deets jumps in and says, War Damn Eagle, War Report fam, ready to head up to Waco after work tomorrow. Don't worry about the weather yet. Texas weather changes every hour. You won't know for sure until the morning. Let's get it done, boys. Hopefully the weather, I said in the comment section, Mother Nature might be the only thing that slows this Auburn offense down. So if they If it's sloppy conditions out there, then this changes a whole lot of stuff, and it's really going to be about who can run the ball most effectively and take care of the football in terms of not fumbling. But yeah, we can't make predictions based upon what we think Mother Nature might do. But I'm ready for Auburn to go out there and handle business. AU Dirty Bird with Super Chat says, nobody is talking about Baylor's running game. Do y'all have any thoughts on it? Yeah, actually. So again, I had a conversation with my guy Grayson over at Sikkim 365. He covers Baylor. That will be going live on the channel around 10 a.m. tomorrow for our non-members. It's already live for our members on the channel right now. And he talked about this quite a bit. They've got a really good running back there,
Right,
and they've got a lot of confidence in their offensive line. In their continuity from last season to be able to do what they need to do, plus the legs of Sawyer Robertson as another thing there. They feel like they can run the football effectively versus Auburn. He particularly feels like the interior, he's not alone in this, the interior of the Auburn defensive line is not going to be strong enough to hold up through 4 quarters against the Baylor offensive line. And so yeah, I think that there's a lot of, I think it starts there for both teams. Who's going to be able to establish the run, and can one of those defensive lines make it where the run game feels so ineffective that we're just going to have to throw the ball and supplement the run game with a short passing game.
What's the guy's name? Sawyer Robertson was the second most protected quarterback in the Big 12 last year from a pass pro standpoint. So there will be some, I think, pressure on the guys off the edge to get to the quarterback, but interior, making sure that Bryson Washington can't get through to the second level is going to be very important, right? This is where DeMarcus Riddick and those guys are going to come in as well too. Robert Woodyard, they're going to have to fill those lanes, and they're going to have really good gap discipline versus the Baylor run game.
Yeah,
because he does have good vision in the hole, right? He's got good vision as a running back, and so it's just one of those things to watch. I understand what Grayson is saying about this one. I just, like I said, I think that this is an underrated group, and Malik Blockton and those guys, quietly names that fly under the radar, but these are again top 100 kids.
Yeah, listen, you've got Malik Blockton up there, you've got Dallas Walker the fourth up there, you've got Jay Hardy up there, you've got Jamison Travis up there, you've got Jordan Crawford the freshman up there, you've got Malik Autry the freshman up there. You've got bodies that you can just throw out there in waves, and Auburn should be able to hold up at the point of attack. James Ash, the transfer over from FAMU, is up there, right? And so you definitely have a bunch of guys that can go out there and they can hold their own, because you got dudes that are you got 300 pounders that you can go 3 deep with at the nose tackle position, and then you've got just some ferocious shoot, I didn't even name Zeke Walker, right? I'm forgetting people. There's names that. Again, this isn't about my confidence. This is what Auburn feels like they have to throw out there in waves for you on that defensive line. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm looking for. I think that defensive line is going to be better than people think it's going to be, because they're going to be able to play guys less snaps per game. So they're going to be able to put better snaps out there on a consistent basis. Anthony Long jumps in and says, I've heard national people say that Jackson Arnold is turnover prone, but he only threw 3 picks. How many fumbles did he lose last year? I think the answer to that is 9.
Yeah, I mean, he was running for his life last year, though. I mean, Jackson Arnold had a 40% pressure rate last season. 40%. That's insane. They provided him zero protection. I mean, they sent him into a war zone with
10 is the correct answer to that. He had 10 fumbles last season.
10, right? Yeah. Like, look, they sent, but how many of those were lost though?
That's a good question. I'm not sure on the answer to that. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, lost or not, he did put the ball on the ground quite a bit last year. But again, I still have to point to the fact that he was running a lot, not just from pressure, but just in general running the football as a runner a lot, and he did not have a good offensive line. So ball security is definitely something that you can point to and say Jackson Arnold's got to clean that up. But the rest of the narrative around him, I think, has been a little bit unfair. But if that is the question that people have about Jackson Arnold, that's a fair question, right? Is he going to have better ball security this season for Auburn? I think he's going to have better blocking, but is he going to have better ball security? We'll find out. We will definitely find out.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I'm trying to find. Yeah, it was 10 fumbles, but it doesn't separate out fumbles lost though. So he had 2 versus Tennessee, 2 versus South Carolina, 1 versus Ole Miss, 1 versus
James
Maine.
Morris says 9 fumbles and 5 lost. I'm not sure where he pulled that statistic from, but still.
Yeah, it was 3 versus Missouri and then 1 versus LSU at the end of the season. So
again, he did put the ball on the ground. Like again, there's no running away from that because that's a fact. So he's got to be better with his ball security for sure. But again, he should have less opportunities to do that because he shouldn't have to run as much, and he should not be under pressure as often.
Agreed.
Dwayne jumps in, says they should play Locked on Baylor for the team. They act like our team can't compete. Our defense will hold them under 20. Okay. I'm sure the players have seen this stuff from Locked on Baylor. I'm positive of that. Appreciate the War Report for traveling to Waco. How much 10 personnel do we get to see in this game?
Oh, you guys know this is a bugaboo for me, right? Like I want to see it. I've been warned that 12 personnel is on the way. You have said, just depends on how well Auburn blocks it up, right? If they're blocking well and they're picking up blitzes, we may see more 11 and 10. But if they feel like they got to max protect and buy Jackson Arnold some time, we might see 12. Keep the tight ends in tight, even keep that running back in the block and drop them back. I don't know, man. Like I hope we see a good amount of 11. I think 10 might be a little bit of stretch. Hugh Freeze said in my one-on-one with him this summer, they really haven't done that this year. So yeah. It will be definitely, I mean, since he's been here, I'm sorry, but it's going to be interesting to see how they come out the gate. Do they come out wide open, slinging it like, 10, 11 personnel, or does it look safe? And do they hand the ball off and they try to ease Jackson into the game? I talk, it'll air tomorrow, but Jacob Goins from ESPN 106 and I talked about this, about whether or not, what does the first play of the game look like for Auburn? Do they air it downfield, right? Do they give Jackson Arnold a safe throw, or they just run the ball and just try to ease into offense? I will be so fascinated with how they approach the start to this game on that first drive. For those of you who don't know, for a lot of teams, the first drive is highly scripted. Right? Like it's not like it's just there's a script to that first drive. And it's why we see a lot of those first drives for a lot of teams have a lot of success. They script it out. You follow the script. If you stay on track for the script, you just keep going down the script until you get inside the 20. So they'll have it run pass, maybe. And with room for adjustment based on what the defense is showing them, obviously. But
yeah, I think we're going to see a decent amount of RPO early just to allow Jackson Arnold to be comfortable in what he's seeing out there and let them read and adjust on what Baylor's trying to do to stop that stuff. So it's probably going to be some sort of run with a pass tag on it, as opposed to a designed run, design pass early. And that's what I would anticipate that first drive be. And so if I were, putting some sort of bet on it, I'd say the first play is going to be 11 personnel with an RPO look to it. And then it's going to be about what the box is and whether or not he's handing that off or he's going to try to throw it pretty early. But I think that Baylor is going to give them a simulated 7-man box to kind of try to coax them to throw something quick and play up on it. So that's what I anticipate being first drive is simulated 7-man box to try to get the ball out to the outside, and they're going to try to sit on anything as short to take away like slants and that sort of thing. Perry Unlikely, Baylor media is more arrogant than Bama. They are when they are playing us when we suck. Delusional, calling for a blowout. Some guy named Drake on that stuff.
Yeah, he's talking about Drake from Locked On Big 12. He was on that segment with Cam Stewart from Locked On Baylor. Look, I get it. That's Big 12 propaganda. That's a lot of folks who don't really follow the SEC all that and definitely don't follow Auburn and don't know a whole lot about what's going on with these players and with these coaches and with these teams. So I get it. I understand it. What I have not seen the level of disrespect coming from the Auburn side toward the Baylor team that I've seen from the Baylor side coming toward the Auburn squad. All right. There seems to be an acknowledgement by most folks that Baylor has a solid team on their hands, but a belief that Auburn should win this football game because by the composite star, they are more talented. Those are facts. Those are just facts. Go position for position. Auburn is the more talented team on paper. Now, we all know it doesn't always play out the way it should on paper, which is why I don't have an issue with them having confidence that there are ways for Baylor to win this game, which there certainly are ways for Baylor to win this game. But acting like Jackson Arnold, like, again, the issue that I had with Cam Stewart's segment was it was fan service. So I get it, right? Like, we all do this from time to time. I've ever done it to this level, but like he said, the issue for Auburn is that Jackson Arnold is going to have to throw a forward pass, and I fear that's their problem.
Yeah.
Jackson Arnold can't, the implication be there, he can barely throw a forward pass. That is a crazy statement.
Yeah. It reeks of not actually watching Jackson Arnold play.
Yeah, right. You saw, and then when you called him a turnover machine, you did not acknowledge that a lot of those weren't interceptions. So when you make a statement that he's throwing the ball to the other team, well, again, that's factually incorrect.
Right.
As a matter of fact, he did that less than the quarterback you think is so much better than him, which is what I point out in my tweet. He had a better touchdown to interception ratio than your guy, Sawyer Robertson. I mean, the fumbles are what they are, man, but he ran the ball 150 times last year, man.
Right.
A lot of, and again, it's funny to hear Oklahoma fans say, well, when his read isn't there, he just takes off running. Okay, but those receivers, you guys are acting like Oklahoma had open receivers running all over the field and the offensive line was blocking. Right. Neither of those things was happening, which is why he took off running a lot of the time.
Yeah, once you stop trusting your protection and your receivers, that's exactly what you get from a quarterback.
Yeah,
like
150 rushes.
Yeah,
that's nuts. Come on, man. He was like top 10 in like rush attempts in the SEC last year. I know that's not how he
didn't even play every game. Again, like I don't know if people are absorbing how ridiculous that is. That should not be the case for your quarterback unless your name is Diego Pavia and you're playing in a daggone triple option offense like Vanderbilt is.
Yeah.
That just should not be the case, man. Like, he's not KJ Jefferson out there. Like, he ran a lot because he had to, not because he's incapable of throwing the football. Guy's got a freaking cannon for an arm.
Yeah, I think I misspoke. I did misspeak. He was number 12 in rush attempts, 150.
Oh, okay.
Right, like
12.
Right, yeah, I'm telling you.
Correct me though. There are 16 teams in the SEC, and all of them have running backs.
Right. So there were a couple quarterbacks like Taylon Green had 156 rush attempts. Lenore Sellers had 166 rush attempts.
Those guys I would anticipate, because they design a lot of runs for both of those.
For
Diego
them.
Pavia, Taylon Green, and
Jalen
Lenore
Milroe.
Sellers will likely be in the top 10 again this year in rushing attempts from the quarterback position in the SEC, because that is a huge part of their game. Jackson Arnold can run, but he should not be running the ball that much. He just shouldn't.
Yeah, that wasn't by design, right? That was him taking off because he had to. So I asked Peyton Thorne about this going into his year too, about how many rush attempts he had in that first year. He's like, God, I hope I'm not running the ball that much. He can run, but they don't really want to do it.
Right.
I mean, man, I just get frustrated because it's like, all right, like if you guys are going to do this, at least give the context. Yes, Jackson Arnold turned the ball over, albeit, a lot of them were fumbles behind a patchwork offensive line. That their guys missed a total of like 50 starts last year along that offense. That's nuts, man. I'm telling you, it was so anomalous what happened to Oklahoma offensively last year. I don't know, man. They're talking a lot about John Mateer. I mean, did Oklahoma fix that O-line?
I mean, most of it was injuries that made them have to shuffle the deck that way. And so I've not heard any huge injury reports out of their offensive line. So they should. And Oklahoma normally has a good O-line, which made it even worse because they just were not prepared for that. And it was just kind of like a turnstile up there. And so, again, I don't know how but again, don't take, this is not Auburn fan cope. Do not take my word for it. Don't take Mike G's word for it when you hear us talk about that. Go listen to the head coach for Oklahoma talk about this at SEC Media Days. If you think we're just up here saying some stuff because we want to feel good about who Jackson are, they said it themselves. The people who coached it were like, no, we didn't set those guys up for success.
No. Yeah.
There was, I don't know how, what he said, paraphrasing, I don't know how a quarterback could be successful in that sort of situation.
Yeah, there was another Oklahoma writer that said essentially that Hugh Freeze somehow created a worse environment for Jackson Arnold than he had at Oklahoma. And I don't, like I said, I'm not buying that. I think that they're taking the visor incident, which is just coaching, and a couple things that got played out in the media and just sensationalizing it to say somehow Jackson Arnold is some kind of toxic environment at Auburn. Look, man, I mean, I'm not saying Jackson Arnold's a perfect quarterback. I think he'll have some ups and downs this season, but I think that he'll play well enough for Auburn to win most games.
Yeah,
that's my belief. And sometimes he's going to make plays, and sometimes he's going to need guys to go make plays for him. I think that's the quarterback he is right now. If he makes a monumental leap forward beyond that, I'm all for it. But right now, my expectation is he's going to go out and be able to make basic throws, find open guys when they're wide open, right? Put the ball on time. And, he's going to turn the ball over at least some. That's going to happen. But it doesn't
Every
mean
quarterback does. Even the best one didn't go over in the turnover column.
Yeah, you should be good enough as a team to overcome a turnover or two by your quarterback at this point if you're Auburn. I'm saying it. Like Jackson Arnold, if you're still at a point where you need perfection from your quarterback to win football games, your team is not as good as you think they are.
Right. And Auburn is definitely good.
Yeah.
So that should not be a thing. And again, I don't know why the narrative persists in that way. But again, hey, listen, Jackson Arnold, in 2 days, you could shut up a lot of people. In 2 days, you could shut a whole bunch of people up. And now, listen clearly. If he goes out there and he lights this Baylor defense up, the narrative will change to Baylor's defense isn't that good. It's not going to be Jackson Arnold redemption story. It's going to be, well, Baylor's defense last year wasn't all that great. So, I promise you that is how that narrative will shift.
Yeah, but again, and you know what was crazy is that would be a fair narrative because they were the 9th best pass defense in the Big 12 last year.
But
So,
still, it doesn't matter. They know that today and are thinking he's going to fail.
that's where I was going. Right. Yeah. Like, you know that today, but you're leaving that out of your narrative. And they're thinking that he's so bad that the fact that you were the 9th best pass defense in the Big 12 last year is not going to matter. Or you were so much better this year suddenly than you were last year, which they've added some pieces in the secondary. So we'll see. I mean, but if you're holding Auburn's pass against them, why does your pass not matter? And when we talk about you,
no, because they got better and Auburn stayed the same. That's
right.
exactly
Yeah, yeah. You started your season 2-4.
No, that doesn't count because Sawyer Robertson wasn't the quarterback yet. And
he missed 2 games against nobodies.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter because they were still trying to figure things out offensively, and they hadn't really established the run game yet in the season, so that doesn't count. But it counts because Auburn was shuffling quarterbacks early in the season, and they had a bunch of turnovers early. That counts. Yeah. But no, I mean, because they were still trying to figure out what their identity was going to be, and once they figured it out, that's how it goes. That's the narrative is convenient, but it's not total.
Yeah, he started all but 2 games last year. He missed Tarleton State and Air Force. The rest of those games were on him, including 3 straight losses to Colorado, BYU, and Iowa State.
And listen, and again, it's not that Sawyer Robertson didn't play well in those games. He did. He played well in those football games, and he went out there and he put up points. But what we're talking about right now is that defense was out there getting ran through like I ain't gonna say what I want to say, but they was getting ran through. It is what it is, but apparently their defense got better, and Auburn's offense has no prayer of improving because Jackson Arnold can't possibly be good.
I'm sorry, man. These numbers for him look extra regular, man. Like, and everybody they played with a pulse, he was like sub 60% completion percentage. Colorado 52%.
Because they couldn't run the football. When he does not have the supplementary run game and they're asking him to do a lot, he hasn't been as good. And that's you don't have to take my word for it. Go look it up. Yeah. I'm not making up stuff about him to make myself feel better about the game. It's just the reality of what happened in those games, man. Again, if I can accept the reality that Jackson Arnold had an issue with ball security, you can accept Sawyer Robertson wasn't as good when his run game didn't support him.
Yeah. This is a crazy narrative to me. I can't with this. I don't know what to do with this. But okay. Like I said, I mean, it seems to matter. Like, I mean, they seem to leave out narratives about their own team that, we certainly mention here. I will say that. We definitely mentioned those narratives here on Auburn that are not so favorable to Auburn. I get it. I mean, it's part of the story.
We cover the team in total, though. So it's like as much as I want to bug about stuff, I can be realistic and say these are issues. These are things I'm not sure about. These are things that absolutely should be a problem for them. They've got to get figured out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's not even a difficult thing to say.
Yeah. We have so many super chats here. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, I got to get through these. Devin, Baylor fans and Big 12 fans in general are blinded by their hate for the SEC. They want to stick it to us so bad. This is the root of most of this. It is we hate the SEC and their bias, and you guys think that you're going to send one of your mid-level programs over here and get a win versus the team that could win the Big 12. You're out of your mind. The Big 12 is way more competitive than the SEC is top to bottom, and you're not going to send a team that doesn't have a prayer to compete for the title over here into Waco and get a win in week 1. SEC, screw you.
Yeah.
That's the long and the short of all this.
That is true.
9-time champion. No current Big 12 team has ever won a natty. Ever.
Wow. That's a crazy stat.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Texas and Oklahoma were the only teams in the Big 12 that had sniffed championships, and they're no longer there. So,
all right. I thank you for that tidbit. I love that. 9-time champion. says there were no champions. There were in the Big 12 right now.
Let's see. Jackson's first drive will tell us everything. I'm
I
not sure
disagree
about
with that.
everything from
Yeah.
the first drive, but I think what the first drive will tell me is how nervous this team is or how ready they are.
Yeah,
right?
if
Like
they go run, pass, and 3 and out, I'm not saying that they're not going to judge Jackson off that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's what I don't want to see is
His
that first drive at Cal was at 3 years ago when we went to Cal, and the first drive we almost ended in disaster with Peyton Thorne. That was 2 years ago with him throwing an interception up the sideline. Like that's what I don't want to see first drive, is all the nerves and looking disoriented. Let's see. Efficient Gaming. Baylor is a poverty program. Length and girth, we win big. War, damn Eagle. I like it. I like it a lot.
Coach Freeze.
9-time champion jumps in here. An official request for Warapore merch. Length and girth better than length. Lag over length. Length.
Okay. All right. I like that.
We'll see what we can do about that. Appreciate Tiger Boy 0261
More
for
of this,
joining.
please. More of this.
Appreciate Martin for gifting some memberships here. Cleveland Brown with some gifted memberships. Martin with some more gifted memberships. Justin Thomas became a member. Cleveland says the only way Auburn takes an L is if we beat ourselves. All pause, but all true. That is the long and the short of it for me.
I think
Auburn's gonna have to self-destruct, I think, to lose this game.
I could not agree with this more. Like, again, it's going to sound like Homer talk, but for the most part, if they don't make mistakes, as you mentioned, if they don't turn the ball over, they probably win this football game. Right? It's self-inflicted wounds, busted coverages, things that you've got to give this one to Baylor.
Yep. Yeah, I have a lot of confidence in the talent of this team, and I think that they can just line up and go out there and win. I have a lot of, respect for what I think is a talented team in Baylor, which is why I'm not predicting a blowout in this game. I do think it's going to be a contested game, but at the end of the day, I'm just thinking that the talent for Auburn wins out, and you end up with an Auburn victory in this one. All right. Any other thoughts here? We got through all those super chats finally, but any final thoughts before we get out of here, Mike?
No, look, man, this is the time is now. If you're the time is now. As I mentioned, you've been given all the resources. You had a fan base that supported you through 5 and 7. They showed up for Texas A&M and celebrated like it was the damn Super Bowl. Like it was insane. I was on the field running from end zone to end zone, 4 OTs with my bad heart. It was crazy down there. This fan base is incredible. The Auburn fan base is incredible. And they have given this coach and this athletic director and this administration unconditional support. Now it's time to give something back. And Friday night, you can start. Now, I'll tell you, like, what I hope comes out of Friday night is hope. Hope that this season could be more than just another season where you just make a bowl game. Hope that a SEC championship might be in the future for Auburn football. Hope that the days of getting your ass kicked in the Iron Bowl every single year is over. Saban is gone. Hope that you can win a game versus Georgia at home. There is nothing worse for a program than losing hope, because when hope is lost, coaches get fired. Auburn died a slow death under Gus at the end, and they fired him because there was no hope that it was going to be different. Then 8 wins. Brian Harsin got fired mid-season because there was no hope that it was going to get better. You hired Hugh Freeze, and then you recruited your butt off to inject hope back into the program. Auburn fans deserve hope. I'm sick of sitting here on Saturdays having the same conversation about why they can't win football games they should have won. This is why I didn't want to have the talent conversation last year when everybody kept saying, oh, we need to. No. There would have been a lot more hope going into this season. If you don't blow games you should have won. I'm looking at Vanderbilt. 17-7. Diego Papia went 9 for 22, and you lost. Your defense played their ass off. You couldn't put 21 points on the board. Hope, man. Hope is what we need out of Friday. Just a little. And you know what? I want to win, Ike, but you don't even have to go as far as to win the game to have hope. To have a pulse offensively. Show some competency in the red zone. Show up in crunch time for a damn change. We need hope on Friday. If you can't give fans that in year 3, this is why when we start having a conversation about whether 7-5 is good enough, I don't want to hear it. At 7-5, there's a lot of conversations that are still left open because we're left hopeless. I don't think 7 wins is enough to inject hope back into the program. But with all this talent and the quarterback you picked and one of the best defensive coordinators in the country and countless top 150 players and one of the best NIL programs in the country, you got to get it done. It starts at Baylor. I will settle for offensive competency. I think the defense is just going to show up. And if they're competent offensively, it's why I can't see Auburn losing this game. But if it's more of the same, I cannot blame anybody for losing hope. Because you've been doing this for 2 years. 2 years they've been selling out that stadium for losing seasons. 2 years, husbands and wives and parents have been spending thousands of dollars to get their families down to Auburn game after game after game. Last year, 5 straight home games. Terrible for fans, but fans showed up. Go on the road and give this team some hope. If you're a player and you're watching this, we're with you. If you're the parent of a player and you're watching this, we're with you. That's what Auburn people do. But at some point, there's got to be an ROI for the fans, man. There has to be. And their part in this matters because they're the ones showing up, creating the environment the Georgia players said at media days is the hardest to go play in the conference. You want a quiet crowd? Take hope away. I watched 2 fan bases die a slow death under Gus Malzahn. In 4 years. Remember when Gus went over there and we tried to tell UCF fans, they were like, no, this ain't Auburn. This ain't the SEC. No. You watch. When you lower the bar, he'll go lower. He will bury your hope beneath the casket. Which is what happened. So we need hope. Develop Jackson Arnold. Make Jackson Arnold an all SEC performer, man. And let's get this, and let's get these 8 dubs and then some. Because come November, Auburn needs to be in the playoff conversation. I'm not saying they got to make the playoff, but they need to be in the conversation. I'll see you guys at the pregame.
Couple more super chats before we get out of here. Heavy says that he nominates Mike for the halftime speeches to the team. And Mr. Gibson says that he would pay good money to watch Mike bring up these points when he interviewed Freeze.
Yeah, I'd have to not yell it at him, but I'll do it the next time. I will yell at him like that.
I got 14 Mr. H. I got Mike Hicks says, yes, Mike G just went Ultra Instinct.
We need hope, man. We need hope. Hey, we'll stay on if you guys keep dropping these supers.
Just like KP says, is it just me? I don't think Coach Hugh Freeze will be released if we go 7-5. He has a lot of recruiting momentum. It's only a matter of time before this team takes off.
It's the one thing
we've had this conversation several times. If you're 7-5 after this season, I don't think that you can just say that he's definitely coming back. That conversation is completely open because I think you underachieve another year, right? Like, tell me where you think the true floor, not the I don't trust Coach Hugh Freeze floor, but talent. If you just put this team, this is the conversation we were having at the end of the Gus Malzahn tenure. Why is it that Gus can consistently bring you top 20 teams, top 25 talented teams, but have teams that finish outside of the top 25?
Yeah.
The conversation for Hugh Freeze now needs to be, why is it that you keep bringing in top 15, top 10 talented teams, but finishing barely making a bowl? Like, that should not be. You should not screw up that level of talent that consistently. And if we're having that conversation again, then yes, that's got to be on the table.
Yeah, let me do this real quick. Ike, again, here's the schedule. Show me 5 losses on this schedule where you are not pulling your hair out because they lost. Show me 5 on this schedule. As I mentioned, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Georgia. Those are your top 3 SEC games in my book. And I get that Alabama's at the end of the season, but that is your toughest stretch of the season. After Georgia, Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mercer. Whew. You win those 5 and you win 3 of your first 6. You're 8-4. But show me a 5th, take a loss away somewhere and tell me where you aren't supremely disappointed that Auburn lost that football game. I think a lot of us, all we're asking for is for Auburn to win the ones that they should and compete in the ones that are iffy. And that's why when Ike did his boss, toss, and loss, he put almost everything that could have been a loss in the toss column because Auburn should compete in all those football games.
Listen,
I get it.
Auburn's not going to go undefeated, but I can't sit and look at a roster. I think just recently they released like composites talent. They're the composite talent ratings for each team, and Auburn was like 12th in the country.
Yeah.
You can't put a roster that from a talent perspective is top 15 and tell me you're okay with losing to freaking Kentucky. What are we doing?
Yeah.
No, that's not a real thing, bro. And you can't tell me a top 15 talented team can't compete at home versus Georgia and Bama.
There was a commenter in our comment section arguing with me about a point I made about Lane. And what I said was, I don't know why he's not under more heat for underperforming expectations versus returning talent and roster. And you're like, I don't get it. The only reason he's not is because they've accepted the underperforming at Ole Miss. All I can think is that, like, because they haven't won a championship, there's no expectation that they're going to win a championship.
Right. Like, because he's doing better than what they're used to, it's okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So a 10-win season here and there is acceptable because, and then, so the commenter said this, and chat, after the video, you guys can weigh in on this. We're more than open to listen to perspectives on this. He said, I'd rather have been Ole Miss these last 2 years than Auburn. And I said, okay, here's a little bit of a different perspective on that, right? He had the best quarterback in the conference, I would argue, in Jackson Dart. You know, at least arguably. You could argue maybe Garrett Nussmeier or Lenore Sellers down the stretch.
I'd have taken Jackson Dart over Nussmeier last year.
Right. Yeah, last year. So you had a great defense. You beat Georgia, and then you lost to Kentucky and Florida.
Not just lost, got your ass whooped by Kentucky.
Yes. So in a year where you should have been a shoo-in to make the playoff, you again underperformed. So if that's the best he can do with one of the best rosters he's ever had, with the easiest schedule in the SEC, one of them, top 3 easiest schedules in the SEC, where's the hope? Where's the hope that they are going to finally break through that fourth wall and win a championship? It seems like an inevitability that they're going to screw it up. At least at Auburn, we know they haven't come close to their ceiling. And they're still recruiting at a high level, which is something Lane Kiffin is lazy at. He's a lazy high school recruiter. So, yes, I would rather be Auburn in year 3 right now with the hope that bringing in a 5-star quarterback and all these 5-star receivers and like this experienced running back room and what could be a top 15 defense. I'll take the slow build to the championship over the flash in the pan results that always have you coming up short. Because that's what Gus did to us twice. Took us to a championship in year 1. Super disappointing. 8-5 year 2. And just when we were almost sick of it, 2017 happens. Beats Georgia and Alabama. Right back to the basement. How many people would have said, oh, I'd rather be Auburn over this last stretch than... No, at some point, the mediocrity coming up short gets old. It's why Georgia decided to finally move on from Mark Richt.
Yeah.
He was a good coach, man, and he was good for 9 wins most years.
I'm actually shocked Mark Richt, like, he just must have been like, man, I'm over it, bro. Because like he was a good coach. And they were just like, this is cool, but it's not enough.
But we're tired of coming up just short. And most programs would take what Georgia was producing under Mark Richt.
Correct.
So if you're okay with being that, then okay, yeah, sure, you're a Lane Kiffin fan. I'm not. And you know why? Because I've actually seen Auburn win a championship in my lifetime. We were on campus for a season where they won every single game.
Right.
A season that fundamentally changed the landscape of college football. That's not hyperbole. Auburn literally changed the BCS that year. No SEC team would ever be left out after 2004 Auburn. As a matter of fact, 2-loss LSU in 2007 under Les Miles has Auburn to thank for why they got the benefit of the doubt. Championship after championship after championship for the SEC after 2004 Auburn, including Auburn. So if you're, I don't get being a fan of a school that's actually won a championship, saying you covet being a school who has never won it, from a coach who has been given 4 P4 programs have given this guy a chance to be head coach, and he has never gotten to the promised land. 4 times. 5
at programs that have
total.
won championships, right? It's not as if he was at some place that they couldn't win.
Tennessee, Southern Cal, FAU. There's one more I'm missing. Who else gave this bum a chance?
No, Ole Miss.
And now
is
Ole Miss.
head coach. Yeah.
I swear he was the head coach of one more program. Am I tripping? He went from Tennessee.
That was the only place I know he coached as head coach, man. If it's somewhere else, then whatever.
Yeah. Try to help me out here if there was another one. But he's a bum. Okay, yes, he's good with quarterback tutelage, and he's a great play caller. But as a head coach, he's average. The guy arguing with me just hates Freeze. And here's my thing, man. Like, you don't have to be a Freeze fan. Look, man, I was not a Freeze fan when he got hired. But I love Auburn more than I dislike the hire. Once he's in the door, I'm a fan. As long as he's not doing no shady stuff, you know what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna hold you. I would have had a hard time being excited about Lane Kiffin's hire. I really would have. Like he would have had to convince me. Like it'd have been difficult.
Yeah, I get it. You know, there were a lot of Auburn women who were against the hire. They voiced their concerns to me. They said they wrote letters to the president. I get it. Ultimately, although a lot of those people love Auburn more than they hate Freeze. And that's where you should always be at. You should always love your school more than you hate the coach. You should always pull for the players more than you hate the coach. But I'm telling you, like, you know, and I've heard some things about Lane, about how he treats his players and stuff too, that also make me uncomfortable. I just don't know. I don't get coveting being a program that has proven that they can never win it, no matter what they have or who they have. I do not get that. You've already been to the promised land as an Auburn fan. Gene Chizik took you there. Gene could get it done at Auburn. Lane couldn't get it done at Ole Miss with the best quarterback in the conference and being one of the best play callers. It's something about guys who perennially come up short that it doesn't matter what the situation is. They're just going to come up short. We talked about that Ole Miss schedule ad nauseum last year. They should have started 6-0 easily. What did they do? They lost the game. Then they beat Georgia, and everybody, and then they had LSU at home. They blew it. And then you lost to Florida, and that was it. All you had to do was not get your ass kicked by Kentucky, and you're in the playoff. That was it. Auburn beat Kentucky by 2 scores on the road, Ike.
Right.
No, I don't want to be Ole Miss, and no, I don't want Lane Kiffin. I'd rather be where Auburn is right here, hoping Jackson Arnold is going to be the breakthrough 5-star quarterback that he was when he was coming out of high school. If we can't do that, what are we doing? Friday night has to be the start of something better for Auburn fans. If it's not, yes, that will be disappointing. But right now, I think there's a ton of hope. And the only people who don't have hope are the Freeze haters. Wishing for him to fail, wanting to be right more than they want to see their school succeed. That's a sad life, man. That's a really sad life. I'm a Jackson Arnold fan. I don't care what he did at Oklahoma. I'm a Deuce fan. I'm a Freeze fan. I'm a fan. Now, I know we're credentialed media and we try to be objectively unbiased in our opinions about the game and the stats and the facts. The facts are the facts. But this has to be it, man. I'm telling you, like Friday night, there's nothing else to watch. I think Colorado and Georgia Tech play on ESPN. We're living in the upside down. Auburn's on Fox and Colorado's on ESPN at the same time. But there is nothing, all the eyes of the world will be on Auburn Friday night. Who's going to show up? Is it going to be the team that went 5-7 last year and found every way to lose every game that mattered? Or is it going to be the new look Auburn Tigers? The future of the program, because that's what we're going to get a lens into. What is this program going to be 2 years from now? As you mentioned just a few minutes ago, the only thing that will I can say almost the only thing that will keep a Freeze employed at 7-5 to me is the fact that he's brought in so much talent. You know, some of those kids are going to walk out the door if you fire them. And a lot of them are going to get top dollar from almost every SEC institution. If Deuce decides to leave, he's going to get a lot of money. And he's going to go play at some place that will play him immediately. Same with Cam. Same with Perry. There's so many guys on here who walk out of here And they're going to get paid, man, and they're going to play, and they're going to go to great programs. If Freeze is the thing that holds that together, that is reason number one to keep him employed. Because if the talent walks out, I fear the hope will walk out with them.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to try to restart that engine again. I don't know where you turn to after that to try to get it reignited. Just like KP says, is it just me? Oh, no, we already did that one. Sorry. Darius Lee says, is Mike G suiting up Friday? Fire speech.
Hell yeah, I might just suit up. I didn't even put it up for the show, man. My guy Jason Jones sent us this. You got one too, Ike. I didn't even have it up for the show, but sorry, Jason.
Heavy, this team and season feels like a coiled spring.
Wow,
like that metaphor. Mr. Gibson says UGA isn't that scary with Bobo as the OC.
Everybody keeps saying this, man, but Bobo just quietly gets it done to me. I don't know, man. I don't think he's as bad as people like to say he is. You good?
Efficient gaming, Gus is trash. Come on, Gus, take down that Bama one more time. That's funny.
My God, yeah.
Of course, Lawrence needs to show up. DJ Durkin could hold the class together if Freeze was fired.
That's
maybe,
a good point. Maybe
he's gonna have to figure out who his OC is gonna be to keep the offensive talent there. But the defensive talent and staff would likely stay together if Durkin were to be promoted to the head coach. Yes.
Can we get $100 super chat before the stream is over? My dog needs braces. Just one. We had a good while since we've seen a hundo up there.
Well, I need to get out of here if you want to stay on and wait for that, because I got to get my son ready for school in the morning. But I appreciate everybody who showed up tonight. We are ready, 2 days away. I'm making the trip to Waco. You guys make sure y'all are right here on the channel. Mike G will be here. Caesar will be here. We will be talking more about this game later this week and right up until game time. Mike G, tell the people how they can support all the things.
You guys already know the deal, man. Sign up as a patron, $5.99 a month to join one of the best online forums for discussion during the game that exists. It's going to be a lot of fun Friday night. So we'll be with you pregame, halftime, and postgame. It's going to be so much fun. I want to thank our title sponsor, the Rage Room. Visit the Rage Room at the addresses on the screen there. Whether you're in Opelika or Alabama, get some rage out with the Rage Room. They've been great sponsors of the War Report, so we appreciate them. And before, I don't usually do this ad read at the end, but I do want to give a special shout out to our brand new sponsor, AIM and Associates. That's Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates. They've been in business for 25 years, and they've managed over $200 million in client assets over 25 states and in 2 foreign countries. As I mentioned earlier in the show, they're not some big corporation. This is an Auburn family, and Auburn people should support Auburn people. So if you want, like, small town feel folks that understand small time people financial problems, AIM and Associates definitely understands that. Like, we had a conversation when we were onboarding them as a sponsor about my finances, and with all my medical stuff, and I've got some complicated things going on in my life right now, and those guys gave me a lot of clarity into how I can best make my finances work for me. I know they could help a lot of you, so go talk to Jeff, David, Conlon. They're great to work with, and you can call them at 912-777-4128 or visit their website on the screen, aimainc.com. That's aimainc.com. There's a QR code there if you guys are watching that you can scan that will take you right there and pre-fill some information for you. So before we get out of here, I got to mention again, the War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates for this endorsement. Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates is a registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The information in this advertisement is for informational purposes only and should not be considered personalized investment advice. All investing involves risk, including the potential for loss of principal, and past performance isn't indicative of future results. Call AIM and Associates today to start on your path to financial freedom. Guys, check us out on podcasts, all the podcast platforms. We are there bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content. So whether you're on Apple Podcast, or Spotify. We are there in your eardrums, man, at school, at work, at the gym. Lots of great stuff there. And there's a lot of stuff that we do that's audio only. So you got to subscribe on podcasts to make sure you don't miss any of that. I think we put out like 3-4 audio spots a day right now. It's always something for you to listen to. So if you want all Auburn all the time, we are dropping pods throughout the day with information, with interviews, with stats, with perspectives, with analysis. Very proud of the work that we do on pod. And for what it's worth, Ike does a lot of basketball only stuff that you can't get anywhere else. So, we sit down with the brains behind Auburn basketball, Ira Bowman, Mike Burgermaster, even Bruce Pearl. Some of this audio only. So please go over to podcasts and subscribe. We ask you guys to do a lot of things. Of all the things we ask you to do, just listen. That's it. If you can't call Aim and Associates and you can't buy something from the Vibe Vault or the Rogue Shop, if you don't have time for a personality interview, just listen. That's it. That's all we ask. I know it seems like there are a lot of ads on our content. Those ads allow us to continue to bring you guys content at the rate that we do. So we appreciate your patience with the ads and, the ad reads. And all we ask is, hey, if you're going to patron somebody, patron our sponsors, go to Golden's Cast Iron, go to these people who support us financially, because I'm telling you, it may seem like we just turn on a camera and a microphone and talk and that's it. But Ike and I do a ton of work behind the scenes to bring you all the content that we do. And if you haven't noticed, we are dropping a lot of written content these days at thewarreport.com. Every single day, there are 2 to 3 articles being posted there for you guys to consume your sports media in written form as well, too. So we are just finding ways to work for you guys, and we appreciate your support.
For sure. And we need your support to share this video out there on social media. Make sure you're doing that. Make sure that you like the video before you get out of here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can hit us up on social media at The War Report on X and Instagram. We are TW Report on TikTok. Out of here until the next time. More content dropping for you guys tomorrow. Game day coming up on Friday.
Yes.
And as always, Warrior.